Have you ever felt like you're just completely trapped on this endless treadmill of personal growth?
Oh, yeah. Like you're constantly running but not getting anywhere.
Exactly. You know that exact feeling
Yeah.
where you're constantly working on yourself, you're reading all the books, doing the practices, maybe going to therapy,
Yeah.
but there's always this underlying assumption that your quote unquote best self, or like your most healed or most peaceful self, is, I don't know, some distant milestone you just haven't quite earned yet.
Like it's perpetually uh, 10 miles down the road.
Yes.
Yeah.
10 miles down the road, and you're just sweating trying to catch up to it.
I mean, it is an incredibly exhausting way to live
Yeah.
because no matter how much ground you cover, that idealized version of you, it just remains this moving target.
Always out of reach.
Right. You're always in the not quite there yet phase of your own life. And if you're constantly in that phase, you never actually get to experience the peace you're working so hard to achieve.
Yeah. It's exhausting. But, and this is why we're here today, welcome to the deep dive, by the way. What if that future you isn't actually in the future at all?
That's the big question.
It is. So today, our mission is to basically dismantle this illusion of linear time. We're looking at a text about a fascinating concept called time mapping,
Yeah, it's a really incredible framework.
and we're going to deconstruct the whole idea that your most integrated self is locked away, and instead learn how to actually access it in the present moment. And just to set the stage for you listening, this isn't about ignoring reality.
Definitely not.
Right. It's not some like toxic positivity mindset where we just pretend everything is fine while the world burns around us.
Exactly. What we're exploring today is actually a highly practical, somatically grounded approach. It really reshapes how we experience our own psychological maturity.
So where do we start?
Well, it starts by pointing out what the text calls a sequential trap.
The sequential
Right, because our conventional view of personal growth is fundamentally flawed. It relies on this purely linear assumption.
Okay, let's unpack this. What exactly is the sequential trap? Like, how does it work?
So the linear assumption says you suffer, right? Then you process that suffering.
Over years, usually.
Yeah, you integrate the lessons over a long period, and then, and only then, you arrive at wholeness. Time is treated as this straight axis, and transformation is basically the vehicle traveling down it.
Okay.
So within this framework, your future healed self is treated like a product that just simply hasn't come off the assembly line yet.
Right. It needs more work.
Exactly. It requires more raw materials, like more time, more effort, more journaling, more processing.
Okay, I love an analogy. So it makes me think of treating personal growth like a software update.
Oh, that's good.
Like an update we're endlessly waiting to download, right? We just walk around believing our current operating system is full of bugs.
Just glitching all the time.
Yeah, glitching. And we think, well, if I just wait for version 2.0 to finally finish installing, everything's going to run smoothly. But the problem is the download bar never actually hits 100%.
It never does.
We're stuck on the loading screen of our own lives.
That's a perfect way to look at it.
Yeah.
And time mapping is realizing you don't need to download at all.
Wait, really?
Yeah. The code for version 2.0 is actually already dormant on your hard drive. You just need to know the command path to run it.
Oh, wow.
Because while the linear framework isn't entirely wrong, I mean, obviously, events do happen in chronological sequence. It is biologically and psychologically incomplete.
Okay.
The research we're looking at today introduces this alternative rooted in somatic psychology and non-dual traditions.
Wait, let me just jump in. For those listening who might not be deep into the philosophy side of things, when you say non-dual, you basically mean abandoning the idea that our present messy self and our healed future self are two completely separate opposing things, right?
Precisely. Yes. It's the understanding that you are not divided into this, like, broken present and perfect future. The major shift here is this: our highest or most healed state isn't a future construction at all.
Okay.
It is a present depth. It's underneath you right now, not miles ahead of you.
Wait, underneath, not ahead. I mean, that completely flips the script.
It changes everything. Time mapping treats that healed state as a coordinate we can locate in the present, rather than, a destination we have to somehow earn in the future.
So it's already there.
Right. You don't have to manufacture it out of thin air or present effort. You literally just have to shift the register in which you're receiving your own experience to find it.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting, though.
Let's hear it.
Because If wholeness is a coordinate we can access now, how does that actually work without defying logic? Because my immediate pushback here, and honestly, what I was totally thinking when I first started reading this source material is, isn't this just daydreaming?
Right. Like you're just making it up.
Yeah. Am I just hallucinating a better version of myself to, like, feel good for 5 minutes?
It's a vital question.
Yeah.
And the text pushes back hard on the idea that this is just magical thinking. It's actually what we might call expanded pragmatism.
Expanded pragmatism.
Yeah. If we look at indigenous cosmologies, various mystical traditions, and even some emerging frameworks in quantum physics, they don't view time as this straight, narrow corridor.
How do they view it?
They view it more like a field, like a vast space where multiple moments coexist and are accessible to our awareness.
Okay, but I'm not a quantum physicist. And if you're listening to this on your commute right now, you might be wondering, practically speaking, how does our biology actually respond to this field of time?
Well, what's fascinating here is how our nervous system processes reality.
Okay.
Your nervous system does not distinguish between a vividly imagined state, a memory, and a present reality with the same thoroughness that your rational mind does.
Really? It can't tell the difference.
Not physiologically. Think about it. A 20-year-old memory of a traumatic event can cause a very real-time physiological threat response.
Oh, true.
Right. Your amygdala fires, your heart rate spikes, cortisol floods your system. Right here, right now. Even though the event itself is literally decades in the past.
Because to the body, it isn't the past. It's happening right now.
That's precisely. The body lives in a simultaneous relationship to time. It only knows the present tense.
Okay, I see where this is going.
Right, so if a past memory can trigger real-time panic, a vividly felt future self can trigger real-time peace and physiological settledness.
Wow.
If the feeling of wisdom and integration is accessible now, even briefly, then accessing it produces real, measurable effects in your biology. It changes your heart rate variability. It actually engages your parasympathetic nervous system.
But there's a catch, right? Because I can sit here and mentally imagine myself as a super zen, highly enlightened person all day long. But my heart rate might still be through the roof because my rational brain knows, hey, I have a massive project deadline in an hour. How do you override that?
Yes, and that is exactly why what experts call sensory specificity is non-negotiable here.
Sensory specificity.
Yeah, the mind can imagine a future self and remain completely unmoved. You can literally think, I am calm, while your body is screaming, we are in danger.
Totally. I've been there.
Right, so the body is the key. Time mapping only works if you tap into the somatic signature of that integrated self.
A somatic signature, meaning like the actual physical blueprint of that state in the body.
Exactly. You have to ask, what is the posture of that future healed version of you?
Yeah.
What is their breath pattern? What does the literal ease in their chest feel like?
How do their shoulders hang?
Yes.
Yeah.
When you feed the nervous system that highly specific sensory data, it bypasses the rational brain's negativity bias. The nervous system registers it as a real, recognizable frequency.
Oh, a recognizable frequency. I love that phrase.
It's powerful, right? It's not just an aspiration anymore. It becomes a diagnostic tool showing you what your body physically feels like when it's no longer managing threat.
Like tuning a radio dial to pick up a stronger signal.
Exactly like that.
But if we're just tuning our biology into this peaceful frequency, we have to address the elephant in the room here.
Which is?
Aren't we just ignoring our current messy reality? Like, if my life is objectively chaotic right now, and I just tune into my future Zen self, isn't that just denial?
This raises a very important distinction in the text between time mapping and what the psychological community calls spiritual bypass.
Spiritual bypass.
Right. So spiritual bypass uses elevated, peaceful states to avoid contact with what is presently painful or chaotic or confusing. It reaches upward to escape.
Like flying away from the problem.
Yes, it's essentially a flight response disguised as enlightenment. You
Yeah.
meditate to forget your problems.
Right.
Time mapping, on the other hand, reaches laterally and down into depth, and then it deliberately returns to the surface. It never denies that you're in a difficult season or carrying unhealed wounds.
Oh, so it's like looking through binoculars.
How do you...
Like if you just close one eye and look through a single lens at this peaceful future state, your vision is totally flat.
Right.
You have no depth perception. You need both lenses working together to see the whole three-dimensional picture.
That is a brilliant analogy. And if you only look through the lens of your unhealed trauma and current stress, the world looks terrifying and overwhelming.
Yeah, completely.
You need both. The term often used for this is stereoscopic vision, applied to the self.
Stereoscopic vision.
Yeah. One eye is looking clearly at the messy, unfinished present circumstance. You acknowledge the stress, the unresolved conflicts, the places you're still growing.
Okay.
But the other eye is looking from the ground of completion, the self that is already whole and fundamentally unbroken.
So true maturity isn't about getting rid of the messy present.
Not at all. True maturity is the capacity to hold both coordinates at once. You integrate them without collapsing into just one reality. You don't lose the messy reality, but it no longer gets to monopolize your identity.
Okay, I want to pivot here. Because the theory is fascinating, but if you're listening right now, you probably want to know how to actually use this.
Let's get into it.
Let's get down to the mechanics. Let's say you're stuck in awful Tuesday morning traffic.
Classic scenario.
Right. You're late for a meeting, your chest is tight, your hands are just gripping the steering wheel. How do we actually map this out on the fly?
So the text outlines 4 distinct entry points, or phases you can use to map this out. And using your traffic jam scenario is perfect.
Okay, what's phase 1?
The first step is somatic anchoring. Before you reach for any future calm state, you have to drop honestly into what your body is carrying right now in that car.
So I just try to force myself to relax, like take deep breaths.
No, absolutely not. Forcing relaxation is just another way of fighting the present moment. Somatic anchoring is about making honest contact.
Oh, I see.
If your chest is tight, you just feel the tightness, you notice the grip on the steering wheel, you acknowledge the anxiety without trying to fix it.
Because you can't navigate if you don't know where you are.
Exactly. Movement only matters if it starts from a place of genuine, honest presence. You have to know exactly where you are on the map before you can go anywhere else.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm anchored. I'm acknowledging that I'm stressed. My chest is tight. What's the next step?
The next phase is sensory specificity, which we touched on earlier.
Right, the posture and breath.
Yeah. This is where you cultivate that vividly embodied sense of your most integrated self. Not a visual image in your head, but a felt reality from the inside out.
So in the car, what does that look like?
In that car, you ask your body, what is the quality of the air in the car when I am no longer bracing myself against the world?
Oh,
What does my spine feel like when I know I can handle whatever happens in this meeting? How do my hands rest when I'm not in survival mode?
so you're actively inviting the nervous system to remember what safety feels like, even while you're still stuck in traffic.
Exactly. And the more specific this physical portrait becomes somatically, the more your vagus nerve engages. And your nervous system actually begins to inhabit that state.
That's incredible.
Which brings us to the third phase, the act of crossing.
Crossing.
Yeah. It is the deliberate, felt movement from the present stressed coordinate into that deeper integrated coordinate.
Okay.
And this is where the nonlinear aspect of time really shines. Some people feel it as a spatial shift, like dropping down into a larger, quieter room inside their own body.
Interesting.
But researchers note something truly fascinating here. Sometimes, reaching your wisest future self is structurally and biologically identical to retrieving a memory of when you felt most alive and safe as a child.
Okay, hold on. I have to push back here.
Go for it.
How can reverting to a 7-year-old state be the same as accessing my mature, wise future self? Like, a 7-year-old doesn't know about my mortgage or my complicated relationship dynamics or this meeting I'm late for.
Right.
Doesn't a 7-year-old inherently lack life experience?
That is great pushback. But we have to separate the content of your life from the frequency of your nervous system.
Content versus frequency.
Yes. You're absolutely right that a 7-year-old lacks your cognitive life experience. But the biological state of being completely yourself, completely unblazed and deeply alive,
Yeah.
whether you felt it playing in the backyard at age 7 or you're projecting it to a state of enlightenment at age 70, is the exact same frequency in the nervous system.
Wait, really?
The body doesn't care about the mortgage. It cares about the absence of threat. The map isn't linear. That feeling of unbraced aliveness is the ground of your wholeness.
Oh, wow. I've never thought about it like that. The frequency is the same, even if the content of the thoughts is different. Okay, so we've anchored in the present stress. We've gotten specific about the feeling of wholeness. We've crossed over into that frequency.
Yes.
What's the final step? Like, how does this actually change my Tuesday morning?
The final phase is inhabitation in action.
Okay.
The goal of time mapping isn't to reach this state of wholeness and just rest there, zoned out in traffic as an escape from your Tuesday morning.
Right, because that would be spiritual bypass.
Exactly. The goal is to let that grounded coordinate reorganize how you move through your Tuesday morning.
So it's an operational shift in how I behave.
Completely. Think about walking into that meeting. When you make a decision or speak from the felt sense of your most integrated self, the practical outcome is functionally different than if you made that exact same decision driven by the anxiety of running late.
Oh, absolutely. People can feel that energy.
They really can. A boundary set from a place of settled wholeness lands completely differently on other people than a boundary set from a place of defensive contraction. Creative work generated from that deep ground has a completely different quality.
Yeah.
It's not just a temporary mood boost. It's a functional shift in how you process reality and interact with others.
This brings up a really big question for me, though, and I think for anyone listening who has spent a lot of time doing, the work,
Sure.
if we can just access our healed selves now and shift our frequency and change how we operate in a stressful meeting, does that mean we can just skip the hard work of processing our past wounds?
Oh, I see what you're asking.
Like, can we just time map our way out of therapy and ignore our trauma?
The answer is a resounding no.
Okay, good to know.
And to understand why, we have to deeply reevaluate what healing actually is. If we connect this to the bigger picture of psychology, healing is not constructing a self that was missing.
What is it then?
It is excavating what obscures the self that was always there.
Oh, I like that. It's the difference between sculpting a statue out of a block of marble, where you're carefully chipping away what doesn't belong to reveal the perfect form that is already inside,
Yes,
versus trying to build a statue out of thin air by gathering a bunch of random clay.
exactly. And to build on your marble analogy, if you don't know what the statue is actually supposed to look like,
Yeah.
you're just endlessly chipping away at the marble, maybe even damaging it.
Right.
Unprocessed experience of grief, trauma, shame, that stuff doesn't create who you are. It just covers it up like excess stone.
Yeah.
The work of healing is excavative. Time mapping doesn't replace that excavation. It gives it a blueprint. It gives it direction.
Because you know what you're looking for.
Right. Because without a connection to your underlying wholeness, healing can sometimes turn into this endless, exhausting archaeology of your own wounds.
Oh, totally. You can get so stuck in that.
You're just endlessly digging in the dirt of your past, defining yourself by your trauma.
Yeah.
But when you know what the destination feels like, because you visited it somatically, the healing becomes purposive.
That makes so much sense.
Every layer of trauma you clear away simply reveals more of what you already know is there.
And there's an incredible paradox here, right? Which the text mentions.
Oh, the paradox of healing. Yeah.
Inhabiting this integrated ground, even briefly, actually accelerates the healing process of those old wounds.
It does.
Which feels a little counterintuitive at first, but if we think about the biology we discussed earlier, it makes perfect sense.
It makes perfect biological sense.
Right.
We can think of this practice as providing a safe harbor for your nervous system.
A safe harbor.
Yeah. When your body gets to visit this state of genuine settledness, those rigid survival responses, the hypervigilance that keeps trauma locked in the tissues, they begin to soften.
Because the body isn't fighting anymore.
Right. The body literally learns, oh, it is safe here right now. And ironically, it's only when the body feels that it becomes possible to feel and process the really hard, painful things that you couldn't safely feel before.
Wow.
Time mapping and deep trauma processing are mutually reinforcing practices.
So if someone listening starts doing this, does it get easier over time? Because right now, consciously pausing in traffic to anchor, find sensory specificity, cross over, and act, I mean, it feels like it requires a lot of conscious, heavy lifting.
It absolutely does at first. It is a new muscle.
Yeah.
But with regular practice, time mapping literally changes your default operating system.
Really? It just becomes automatic.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
What starts as a deliberate, conscious, sometimes clunky act of crossing over eventually becomes an ambient background orientation. You develop a felt internal map of yourself.
So you don't get lost as often.
Exactly. You start to recognize in real time, like within seconds when you've drifted away from your center, and you know exactly what the physical path back feels like.
That's amazing.
You no longer depend on external conditions.
Sure.
Like having the perfect job, getting a promotion, or finding the perfect relationship to validate your wholeness. You carry the coordinate with you.
Which really is the ultimate synthesis of all of this. The most healed chapter of your life is fundamentally a quality of being.
Perfectly said.
It's not a block of calendar time waiting for you 10 years in the future when everything is finally fixed. It's a stable center, like a root system, that you can live from right now, today, regardless of the fluctuating seasons and chaotic circumstances of your outer life.
Exactly. Your deep wholeness is not a product of your becoming. It is the thing that is doing the becoming.
Wow.
It precedes the work, it runs underneath the work, and it's always broadcasting. It's simply waiting for the frequency of your attention.
It completely reframes how we view ourselves in our journey. You don't have to wait for permission from the future to be who you deeply are.
You really don't.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the sequential trap to vagus nerve frequencies. But I want to leave you, the listener, with one final thought to mull over as you go about the rest of your day.
It's a good one.
We talked at the very beginning about that exhausting treadmill, that feeling of constantly chasing your best self. Well, if the most wise, most integrated, and most healed version of yourself is not 10 miles down the road, if they are actually occupying a dimension of the exact same moment you are living in right now, what is that version of you trying to tell you about the biggest challenge you are facing today?
Yeah.
If you just paused, closed your eyes, and tuned the dial to their frequency, what advice would they give you right now?